Hey everybody, it's Delana. Welcome back to my show. Today I really want to break down the whole Hilaria Baldwin and her new book, the reality show, Alec Baldwin, all that. I had particular interest in this because I actually have 4 children. So I was just fascinated. I wanted to see how they manage 7 kids. It's unbelievable, especially at his age. I could not even fathom having another kid at that age. I had all my kids before I was 35. And it was, wow, challenging. So to have 7 is just almost unbelievable to me. So anyways, I just was watched the show and then kind of read her book. And what's fascinating is that when I first had my 4 kids, I knew nothing. I was a tomboy growing up. I think I'd changed 1 diaper before I had my kids. So I knew nothing. I was thinking like her manual of like no manual included and trying to teach us how to be moms, when in reality she's got like I don't know how many nannies and all the help in the world. I want the book from the mom that has no help at all, has all these kids and can feed them with all their likes and dislikes, and I don't like carrots and I don't like peas, I don't like this. I want to see how a real mom gets her kids to clean their room. I don't know if you've had a teenage girl, but oh my God, just getting her to clean her room. If someone can give me a manual on that, would love that. Or when she looks at you and says, I have no clothes, when she has like pretty much half the Brandy Melville store in her closet, and she's trying to tell me that she has no clothes to wear to school. Give me the manual on that. That I really want to know how to deal with. I think part of the problem with Hilaria Baldwin is I think she's trying to be authentic, and it's just I don't think it's resonating with people because yeah, she has everything in the world. She's got all the money, she's got a couple houses, she's got a couple nannies, and I just don't think that she relates to the general public. And I really don't think that all the moms out there that are going through, like I said, what I went through, I'm like, she's not the person I'm going to for help. I just can't resonate with that. I had to do a lot by myself. Yeah, ended up being a single mom, and holy shit. So I just can't relate. But I wanted to read it just to see, just for a lot. I guess it's entertainment. So here we go. The show has been very entertaining. But hey, I have some thoughts on that. So just stick with me. I'm just going to break it down. And this is a new YouTube channel for me and new podcast. So if you guys could please like, subscribe, share, comment, love the comments. And I really, really, truly do appreciate it. It really helps support the channel and it just means the world to me. So thanks for that. So let's just dive into Hilaria Baldwin. So she is actually from Boston, Massachusetts, and her name is Hillary Thomas Hayward Thomas. So her name, is very, I would say, very American. She grew up in Massachusetts. I think she spent some time in Spain, and I think part of the problem that we have with her is that she's got this fake um, Spanish accent and was trying to make us believe that she was from Spain and that she couldn't remember the name. How do you say cucumber? um, and I think in this world today, what people are looking for is authenticity and to hear what's really going on. That's why when everybody claims my life is perfect and their Instagram life is perfect, it's just not relatable. No one ever posts or talks about the real shit in life. Like I said, I let's have a conversation about how you get your freaking kids to take out the garbage. I have issue just trying to get my kids to take out the garbage and not have to ask them more than once. So, like, these are just more real things that are going on. And I think just the superficiality of it all is just not relatable to people. Like, let's get down in the trenches. I really want to know what's really going on. And I don't know, Hilaria Baldwin, if she could even step into my moccasins for a day, that I'd like to see. You deal with all this shit without the nannies, without the chefs, without anything. Yeah, that's kind of the real shit that's going on. And she, like I said, she's always trying to post this. It's a perfect life. It's a perfect life. All her yoga poses and The only thing I do relate though with is I did a lot of yoga going through all my pregnancies, and it was very, very helpful. And I am very impressed at how she keeps herself in shape after having 7 children. That, yeah, I got a lot of respect for that. Um, and then I move on to like the reality show. I did watch the reality show. I thought it was very interesting. Actually, my firstborn is named Alec. So I've always liked Alec Baldwin. Not that I named my child after that. I just like the name, but it's kind of an unusual name. So every time with my son's name being Alec, every time his name came up, I don't know, it kind of resonated with me and kind of paid attention to it. My son first learned to identify his name through Thomas the Train, and Alec Baldwin used to narrate it. And so every time his name would come up on the screen, my son was obsessed with trains, and he'd go, Alec, Alec. So he first being able to identify his name was when Alec was on that Thomas the Train thing. It was very funny, and I was used to hearing his voice. He's just kinda always been in my household, listening to his voice. Like, my son was addicted to Thomas the Train for years, so, but I always liked Alec Baldwin. I think that this whole reality show is her trying to be famous, and it's famous by association. And I think these women, and I put them all in one category, the Hilaria Baldwin of the world, Meghan Markles of the world, Michelle Obamas of the world. They're famous by association. We would never know who these people are if they weren't married to someone who's famous. And I think they're all trying to be famous on their own right. And I think people just aren't buying into it. I think that we really, and they're trying to be this perfect person and relatable, and they're just not being themselves. And they're just, like I said, they're trying to be famous by association. And so it's very frustrating to see. But anyways, but yeah, Hilaria Baldwin is like, when I was watching the show, what a shit show. Holy crap. I couldn't even fathom. And she's been doing some things lately that I think are bothering people. It's just kind of rubbing people the wrong way. And during the show, there's a part where Alec Baldwin says, I'm deathly allergic to cats. When he was younger, he stayed with a friend that had cats, and he just had this crazy allergic reaction to it. So he's telling the story. And then in the next part, she's like, yeah, the next day she goes out and gets some cats. I'm just like, I think about that, like your husband says that he's allergic to cats, and the next day you go out and get some cats. And I don't know how many cats and dogs they have. I think they just have enough, just as many cats and dogs as they do kids. It just seems like friggin' a shit show over there. And I don't know. It's just hard for me to understand how they can get each one of those kids the attention that they need. And then she's out there, wanting all the attention for herself. Her last kid, she named her Ilaria. So, like, she's literally naming her kids almost her own name. Like, my name is Delana, and it would be like me calling my daughter Elenia. And so, I don't know. It's just, like I said, it's a shit show. And I really think that they did this reality show to kind of help his reputation with the whole shooting of the production assistant and things like that. And I really, in my opinion, I don't think that, obviously he did not do that on purpose. I'm glad that he got off on the charges. I actually feel very sorry for him. I don't think he has one, well, I don't know that he doesn't have mean bone in his body, but I don't think he has any part of him that would want to hurt another person physically, or obviously not kill somebody. I think it's going to devastate him for the rest of his life. I think he's never going to be able to live that down. And I don't think it was his fault. I think that the only way that it is his fault, I always look for, like, who's the top, and he was the top in that organization, and you kind of work your way down. So if he's the boss, then he hires this guy that hires this guy that hires this guy that hired the guy that didn't check the gun and make sure that it was empty, then essentially it's that guy's fault. But then you have to go back up the chain, and then, well, who hired that guy? So that's how I see the accountability. Not that, if someone hands him a gun and says that it's empty or it's clear and he, you know, there's to me, it comes down to intention, and I don't think his intentions obviously were not to have the result that it was. He had no intention. I'm happy that he got off. I hope that he can move on with his life and have a really good acting career. Everybody, I think, enjoys still seeing him, especially on SNL. He's hilarious. I just think he's got a great personality, and even when you watch that show, like he's the one that has the star power, and I think she's just trying to clamor her way in there and try to, like, she was trying to be the star of the reality show, but it's almost like you see her trying to clamor and clamor to be the one that stands out, like talking over top of him and things like that. But he's just got that it factor. He really does. He's had it for his whole entire life. He's got brothers that are in acting, but he's the one that became most famous and most successful is because he's just got that it factor. He's got that personality. Everybody enjoys like listening to him. He's got great stories. I just think, she's just trying to clamor in on his fame, and people aren't buying into it. We're really not. When she was on that red carpet, and it's just like the rudeness, it's just unbelievable. Like when they asked, I think they were asking him a question, and then she kind of answered it, and then he was talking, and she's like, "I'm talking. I am talking. Do not talk when I'm talking." You know, and it was just what was so apparent about it was a knee-jerk reaction, and when you have a knee jerk reaction, that actually is genuine. That is a genuine, that showing authenticity, because that's how she really is. I think she just wants to, if she could kind of put him off to the pastures and then be the whole star and the whole, couple, I think she would. But I don't think we like her as much, and I think what she's missing, like I said, is that authenticity. We're missing that. I thought, like, when Billy Joel, married that young girl, and I think her name was Katie, and Katie Joel, and then she came out with that cookbook, and, she was definitely kind of riding on her husband's coattail, but she was just very subtle about it, and she wrote a book about something she genuinely cares about, and that was the difference. I think that with Katie Joel, like, it's like you could tell that she had a passion for what she was doing. She wasn't just doing it to be famous. I think she saw it as, "I have a platform, and I can use it, to, write this cookbook to help people make healthy meals." And I don't think anybody took it like she's trying to push her husband out of the way and be the famous one. Another one that does it really well, I'm a big Howard Stern fan, and his wife, Beth. Another one, which he's a little bit getting too political for me lately, but, Beth, his wife, she's never, ever wanted to steal the spotlight from him. She has used her platform, and which I think is just awesome, is to save, rescue animals. That's what she does. She has used, like, she's been on shows and she's done some things, but what I see it as, she's using her platform to do good, and with that animal shelter that she's helping, they rescue cats. I think her Instagram is more pictures on the cats and the animals than it ever is on her. I think she adds enough pictures of her because she's obviously beautiful to, attract people to look at her Instagram. But I think the premise behind it is to rescue these animals, and that's all she talks about. She doesn't talk about herself. She talks about the animals. She uses her platform in a good way. So I think that's the difference, and there's a dichotomy there. Like I said, Hilaria Baldwin, the Meghan Markles, even like Michelle Obama, they're just using their husband's fame for their own good, and it's just not authentic. It's just kind of like, I want the attention. I want the attention. I want you know, the fame due to the proximity to my husband, and it's just not genuine because they're just not showing who they really are, and it's just so apparent to people that they're just using their husband's fame to give a platform not for good, but to just become more famous and to have that influencer, but not in it's an influencer is to pay more attention to me as opposed to, "Hey, I'm an influencer. Let's use my platform to do good. Let's use this platform to share something that I'm passionate about." they're just passionate about themselves. Um, 7 kids, wow. And even the reality show, no, I thought it was entertaining. It wasn't the first show I put on. It was kinda like I put it on if there was nothing else to watch. Um, but it was entertaining. However, I just can't fathom how they can pay attention to each one of those kids. I also heard that, and Alec Baldwin, I don't know how the hell he does it. I couldn't fathom having another kid. Like I said, even after 40, I would not I couldn't even, like, at my age now, I could not fathom having another kid. 4 was plenty. Uh, it was extremely challenging. Obviously, they don't have to worry about the expense of it all, but it's too much. And, I heard one of the other commentators say it's like they're hoarders. They hoard kids, they hoard animals, like, it's just like they want more, 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 more. Um, yeah, it was very interesting, and I think that they did it to, like, help his reputation, and I think it did. Not that I don't think for 1 second that I thought that he did not feel guilty about the whole situation, but, um, she's very pushing him to get back to acting because she wants him to go off to the pasture, but I think if he does go off into the pasture, then the whole attention towards all the Baldwins goes to no one's gonna pay attention. If he's not in the scene, no one's paying attention. So she kinda, like, needs him in the scene, but also is pushing him, like, "Come in so we get the attention, but then don't talk, don't say anything, just just be." Like, Meghan Markle, it's like, Prince Harry, he's just the purse handler. And it's funny because Alec seems to be, uh, okay with it. I don't know what happens behind closed doors. I think there was one little incident in their reality show when they were doing the confessionals together, and she started to talk over top of him, and he finally kinda looked at her and said, like, "I'm" like, they asked me the question, like, "So can you just, like, kind of back off and let me talk?" And it was probably that was one of the only times that I saw through that whole entire thing that he seemed to be annoyed with it. So it'd be very interesting to see, actually behind the scenes what their relationship really is like. It looks to me like they love each other. It looks like a very loving family. Um, but they do have a lot of help, and it will be interesting to see how this plays out because sometimes time, you know, same, I don't know, as marriages, you'll see as marriages get longer and longer, few and few stay together. So it'll be very interesting to see how it all works out. Like I said, I heard another commentator say there's no way he can divorce her because he doesn't have the money coming in that he had before, and he would have to support all those kids and their lifestyle. It would be huge. And not that I think that he's at that point, but they seem very happy and in love. He seems to love her very much. So we'll see what happens. So guys, please like, subscribe, share. We're very interested in your comments. Please let me know what you think of the whole, if you've read the book, I want to know what you think about the book, what you thought about the reality show, and what you think about having 7 kids and having 7 kids after the age of 60. Wow. I can't fathom. Anyways, like I said, please like, subscribe, share. Really appreciate it. I will be doing videos daily, just trying to get my swing of things. But anyways, I appreciate your support and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.